Hello, I'm so glad you decided to join me again, talking about listening circles for parents, which is starting in a few days' time on Monday, the 6th of March in Lagos. Let's look at some of these questions that I put forward in the last video and see if we can come up with some answers for you. So, it really doesn't matter what age your child is. The people in the group will all have children of different ages, and the reason is that it's the triggers we're looking at, the things that keep you stuck, things that are upsetting for you, that keep you in a particular pattern, a cycle of behaviour with your children and with yourself. So it's not about the age of the child at all. Does it also matter whether you have only a little niggle or a big problem to solve? And again, the answer is it doesn't matter either, because what we're looking at is your emotional reaction, how you react, and it doesn't matter if it's a big or a little one. The reaction is a reaction. And when we look at the science of this, it shows us that, in fact, the limbic system, which is the old brain in the mammalian brain, is the one that controls our emotions. And the prefrontal cortex in this area is the area that we use when we're listening. And when we practice listening in the particular way that I'm going to show you in the groups, we work that area of the prefrontal cortex, and the more we work it, the more neurons are laid down, and the better practiced and the better able we are to use our listening muscle, if you like. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the better it gets, the stronger it gets. And one of the many benefits that come out of this listening practice is that when you practice listening to each other in this particular way, then you become a better listener for your children. And in fact, that is a key to bringing our children up in a very healthy way, considering their emotional health. Because when we listen and accept our children, then they have a really good chance of growing into their full potential. So we talked a little bit about the science of it and who would benefit from it, but in fact, what are the benefits? Well, as I've been practicing this for at least 5 years now, I have found so many benefits, and when you experience it, you'll know. It's a bit like sharing a meal. It's really hard to describe the quality and the taste, the flavours of the meal, unless you've actually had the meal yourself. But I can certainly say that it has been the most powerful practice I've ever done, and I continue to do it, not necessarily because I need it all the time, but certainly because I appreciate it and I get huge benefits from it. The benefits are that when my head is muddled, when I feel overwhelmed, when I even don't feel that well, having listening time in this particular practice that we will learn about in the group, having listening time, sharing listening time with another partner, has this magical quality to transform my mood, my behaviour, my energy levels. I can go back into being a parent and suddenly be able to be that parent that I want to be, the best that I can. And it really does happen on almost like a magical level. As an example, just recently, my daughter was upset, really upset about something, slamming doors and this kind of thing. And I felt quite vulnerable that day because I wasn't feeling so good. And I did some listening time. And after that, I was just able to wait for her because what she wanted was peace and quiet and not have me around. And there I was worried about her. And I was able to give her what she needed, and finally I did. And she was able to cry and talk about what was bothering her, and it went really well. I think if I hadn't done that listening time, I would maybe have been crying myself, but certainly it would have been a lot harder. Let's have a look at some of the other questions. As I said, this confidential space is confidential, and that means between us and between other people outside, it's confidential. That is the professional space that I hold with my clients. Can you do it at home? And that's the thing. You don't need the group, but you benefit a lot from the group. The group gives you support and a place to practice a new skill. And it is a new skill because listening in this practice is quite different to having a chat with someone and having a conversation where you might be listening or they might be listening to you, but then they give advice or you give advice and you share opinions, and that's not the kind of listening we're talking about. This kind of listening is very intentional, almost like a meditation, but it isn't meditation, but it's very active, and it has certain guidelines which are very easy to follow actually. And how can it help you and how can it help your family? It really makes a big difference to your stress levels. For those of us who get easily overwhelmed or triggered by things in our lives, but I'm talking about parenting, this practice really helps to reduce your stress levels, especially if you do it regularly. And as for your children, they will instantly see the difference in you, because our children, they pick up on all our anxieties. And certainly in my case, my daughter can tell if I'm raising my voice slightly and I'm maybe not even aware of it. She can tell, and she might say, well, what's wrong, Mum? So they do pick up on these things, and when we drop out of that stress and into a place of calm and empowerment with our children, they notice it and they actually will behave differently. I'm just reading to see if there's anything else I wanted to share with you right now. There isn't anything you need to do before you come to a group like this, apart from look forward to it and get there on time and just be open to see what happens, because it's in the experience of it that you will know whether it works for you and whether you can do it and whether you feel that it will be of benefit. And yes, you can certainly do this at home, and it's something that I would love to share with parents, that they can use themselves and they don't need to rely on anyone else. You just have to find a listening partner, and you can even find listening partners from the group and do it yourselves. So I think those are all the things that I'm going to cover right now. So I look forward to talking to you again in the next video, and I will see you soon. Bye.